Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I tinker with throughout the day. For step-by-step detailed instructions of those tasks, you can click on the links in the comment section below. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. This video also has tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. So, thank you very much for watching. Whenever you put the torque converter back into the transmission, you simply want to make sure the torque converter is all the way in. It's got those keys in the transmission. It's got that slot on the torque converter. When you start putting the torque converter on, you'll have to line up gears, twist it back and forth, fall in a little bit, twist it back and forth, fall in a little bit, twist it back and forth. Then it'll fall in the rest of the way. When it's in the rest of the way, it's sitting back in the transmission. About that much. It's a little bit better than half of an inch, 9/16. That just means it's all the way in. You can hear it scraping inside of the transmission. When you have it all the way in, then you install the engine. The screws will draw it back to the flex plate flywheel, and you'll be fine. If you don't get it seated all the way in, and then you install the engine on it, tighten down the transmission bolt, stuff like that, you'll likely damage it. So the point is to make sure that it's all the way in against the inside of the transmission. There's no damage in it pushing it all the way in. There's damage if it's hanging out and you install the engine and wedge it and jam it in there. Ready to do the rear main seal? Got to make sure all this sealant somebody put in between the seam of the engine is cleaned out. Then clean it, dry it, oil it, install the seal. Here's a Volvo part number rear main seal. I believe it's for these white blocks. That's what we asked for. It has a installer helper. This little plastic on there has a guide to guide it over the back of the crank. See, there's a bearing in here, and oil comes out here to lubricate this joint where this crank rides. You also got to put thread sealer on these bolts that come in there so they don't leak. So normally you get a special tool to install a rear main seal, but from Swedish Car Parts I got this one, and this is should fit over there unless this is for a different size engine, and we're going to find out here in a minute. But this is a seal guide. Put that over the crank, push it in, the seal gets caught in the engine, pry this plastic piece out, and you are good to go. We got the seal started on the back of the crank. Now we're going to tap it slowly in as we go around. Be real patient. Don't jam in one side, have the other side out. Putting these bolts in with the thread sealer on them. You don't want oil leaking through the bolts. Two at a time. Torque them. Torque specs in the video. Our last torque on here is 60 degrees, 65 degrees, and 60 is right there. I put a mark with a Sharpie. I go back 2 notches, 30, 60. So I'm going to hit this with the impact until it lines up, or right past that line. That should be 65 degrees. 60 degrees is perfect, 65 just on the other side of that line. Had to make a couple of runs. Take Alex from Swedish Car Parts' engine lift back, grab a couple of parts, and my guy has shut this down. Man, get your butt out here. We got some work to do. My goodness. Let me go open up this garage and see where we're at. When I left, we were having issues getting the engine aligned in place properly. Wasn't quite back like you see it there on the back of the engine. We're hung up there. not twisted in right, and we couldn't get the front mount over and in place. I think it was hitting the axle. I left him to get the axle out. Looks like the axle's still in, and he done pulled the thing apart. Alright, well, let me see about getting this out so I can get this engine aligned. You see, the blue is the engine and the mount is to the left. So, and he's got a tore up jacking point like Queen Bee does. I guess same side of the car too. Chicago rust. Alright, let's get a little bit of action here. Some more Henry in action. I don't take cam cover bolts loose in a pattern because the head is glued down, cover's glued down to the head, and it doesn't matter what order you take these bolts out in because the cover's glued down. We pulled the cam cover off so we can roll this off because we had no timing belt. So we're going to roll these over, take these screws out of here, and put them in our engine that we're going with. And we had a heck of a time getting this cover off because we overlooked one screw. This is where we're leaving it tonight. We got the transmission bolted up to the engine. Not tight, but it's getting there. We got the torque converter attached to the flywheel. We got the engine resting on the front mount, resting on the back mount attached to the transmission. So we had to take the cam cover off of there to get the torque converter bolts. We put them over here. We just took the turbo off. It's got a missing stud there, and my R manifold doesn't have any studs there. So we're going to try to take them out of that. So this is where we're at, and hopefully we'll get to put the rest of the stuff together in the morning. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.